So good.
And on that note, welcome back to the Dirt Drive. This week, I'm joined by Trevor Clark and... Go ahead, Trevor.
Wow, yeah, way to just skip over me
I actually
bud.
really like the ease into the episode here.
Yeah.
We're just cutting her right in. And then
my face hurts.
Tom Sylvester.
Yeah, my face kind of hurts.
And as always, I'm Tim. I don't usually start off, but we were having fun, and Trevor was laughing too hard. So I did. This week, we are giving you guys a little project update. We've got three...
Well, project intro
project
Slash
intro-
update.
slash
Yeah.
update.
As I like to call it, the State of the Projects address.
Oh,
Yes.
state of the project. Bum, 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 bum.
It's very official.
Bum, bum.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got three garbage 90s, 80s.
80s.
I've got it.
80s.
You've got. I've got the only
I'm
90s.
89, yeah.
So we've got two garbage 80s Jeeps
Square headlight squad, bro.
and one garbage late 90s Jeep
Yep.
that we're all working on.
well, what the engine in yours is out of
90s.
90s.
Yours
So-
is a bastard.
Yeah, mine's multiple pieces.
I mean, so is mine.
Fair.
Yeah,
Less
yeah.
so, because yours is a Chevy bastard, which is very common.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I think mine is made up of more different parts than his.
Yeah, mine's at least mostly Chrysler.
So what is yours?
To fill in the blanks, it's 89 YJ. Has the 5.2 liter V8 out of the 94.
What a ridiculous intro.
Right. Out of a 94 Grand Cherokee. So still in the Chrysler family. You know, it's running the 5.2 with the I believe it's a 46 RH.
I think that's what you said.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That
Yeah.
sounds right.
Still an MP231 transfer case.
Is that a kickdown cable? Or is that electronically shifted?
No, it's kickdown cable of that generation. It's pre-OBD.
nice.
It's OBD1.
Okay.
As we've learned the hard
Yes.
way.
Yeah, getting an ECU for that thing was kind of a nightmare.
So OBD1 went from like the beginning of cars,
There's
after
no
carbs,
Yeah,
to
there's no
90.
official start to OBD1, I believe. But at 96 was the start of OBD2.
and that's just the how the computer is read through a computer.
Correct. Onboard diagnostic OBD generation 2. That was standardized in 96 by the federal government. It's why all the connectors are the same, all that fun stuff that nobody cares about. But the YJ kind of fell into our laps as a half-finished project from our buddy Nick. Shout out Nick at Transamerican, good friend. He was trying to move a bunch of parts.
His
Some of the
wife was more than happy to get rid of that.
Yeah. She was so happy she baked me a cake. Fun
nice.
fact that
Espresso cake.
I got a Jeep and a cake, and the
Espresso
cake at the time was the highlight because the Jeep needed a ton of work.
We also got like almost $4,000 worth of spare parts.
Yeah, we got a ton of spare parts out of that thing, which is actually how it ended up happening because I needed the block for one of the builds at the shop.
The 4-liter.
Yeah, we were building a stroker for the Rubahara, and Nick had a good block and a good head, and the crank. And he was like, "Yeah, I'll sell you all that." And I was like, "Cool, what's your price?" And he's like, $3,000. And I was like, "That seems a little steep for some engine parts." And he's like, "Yeah, the cool part about it is it comes with a Jeep."
Sold.
And I was like, "No, Nick."
And a bunch of spare parts.
Yeah, I was like, "Nick, I don't need a Jeep. I have one."
It's a good thing you took it.
Yeah, that's the irony of it. I just need the block and the crank, and he was just kind of
I did it
like,
with my watch.
or you can just buy it all. And he's like, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna send you an email. I'm gonna list out everything that comes with it for the price.
Did the email contain cake?
No, that was a surprise when I got there to pick it up. And the email was extensive. It was a ton of parts, and I was like, you know what? There's nothing bad about this investment.
Worth every dollar of $3
Oh, 100%. And Nick, being the good friend he is, he knew exactly what was going on. He needed to get out from under the project. He needed to clear out the garage. You know, he really hooked us up. And he started a killer project. So it was an 89 YJ Wrangler, first of the Wranglers. You know, he had already got the motor swapped into it, and the axles were already built, and the suspension was already done.
and stretched.
Yeah, so it's stretched 4 inches in the front, 4 inches in the rear. I probably should measure and get an overall wheelbase on that thing.
Probably close to an XJ.
I think it's actually a little bit longer, but it makes for killer approach and departure angles.
Makes for a killer front drive shaft too.
Yeah. We knew it needed it, like all the wiring needed to be finished. The motor had not run since it had been bolted into the frame. The body was not attached to the frame. There's a bunch of welding and fabrication for shock mounts and spring mounts that still need to get done.
Yep.
Radiator needs to get mounted. Seats need to get mounted. But it's got a fuel cell. It's running a Ford 8.8 in the rear.
That was a
450
pain in the dick.
Yes, it was.
Do you know what the Ford 8.8 is? It like a
it's a disc brake, so
Explorer?
it should be a newer Explorer. Well, I say newer, late '90s Explorer, I believe it is.
Well, yeah. And the Ford 8.8 is a super popular swap in the Jeep
Yes.
community, and they're extremely cheap.
Yeah,
Or they used to be. I don't know if they are now.
Stupid cheap. It's an 8.8 ring gear,
not
so
too
it's
bad
it's
still.
it's
Almost a 9-inch.
close to the equivalent of a Dana 44, which is an 8.5-inch ring gear, if I remember correctly, or 8 3/4.
It's actually bigger.
It's slightly bigger. Yeah, it's on that same ballpark as a Dana 44. Still leaf spring, but it's flexi leaf springs, boomerang not boomerang shackles, long travel shackles.
Yeah.
And bodies comp cut to accommodate the stretch. Fuel tanks relocated. So my finishing touches are I'm adding my own seats, building out the interior. Gonna try and do like a cool little Baja style cargo rack for the spare tire and some tools
fun.
and stuff
So
in the
like
back.
kind of hanging out of the rear window.
I don't want to do hanging out the rear window, but the idea is I'm going to, except for safety, I want to build a little firewall around the fuel cell.
Okay.
That sits in what would be the trunk area. Back seats pulled out of it, so the firewall would enclose the gas tank, and then have like a hidden dungeon area.
Ooh.
That would have tools, equipment, stuff that I don't need like immediate access to that I want to also keep secure. Don't plan on running a top, at most half doors, because I hate mud. So no doors is not as much fun as it sounds.
Especially at the Cove.
I don't think anybody runs no doors.
There's plenty.
Very
of people
few.
that
Yeah,
run
yeah.
doors.
A lot of the JKJL crowd, I feel like, likes the no door
yeah,
thing.
that's fair.
Which just I don't want to get muddy.
It's great on the highway.
Yeah, it's cool for cruising around.
Yeah,
So yeah.
highway, beach, whatever. But the clay in Virginia is no.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So when we took it on, it had no brake lines, the motor didn't run, the ECU that came with it was locked out. Fun fact about early '90s Grand Cherokees with the V8s, they have this wacky security system that basically cuts the fuel pump out as soon as it starts.
And it can't be accessed because it's the OBD1.
Right, we need the whole body harness to get into it and bypass it essentially. And after trying multiple remanned ECUs, a couple of used ECUs,
We got one to fire and run.
yeah, we got it to run, and then the battery got disconnected in the
Disconnected the battery
process, and
to
it
finally hook
triggered
everything back up.
Yep, it triggered the security system, and it stopped running.
Yep.
I found that Dodge, because Dodge also used the 5.2 and the 5.9 platform
In the Dakotas.
in the Dakotas, they did not offer the security system in the Dodges. So I actually ended up buying a remanned ECU for 94 Dakota, plugged it in, thing fires right up.
So how many different vehicles make up your Jeep?
3. Well, 4. I guess 4.
With the Ford, yeah.
4 officially, yeah. So a Ford Explorer rear end. It's an 89 YJ chassis with a 94 Grand Cherokee motor and transfer case, and a 94 Dodge Dakota computer.
High pinion or low pinion 30?
High pinion 30.
Okay.
It's the stock YJ axle built out. I do plan on.
Center axle
Yeah,
disconnect?
it does have the disconnect. Unfortunately, it's been deleted, so it's a one-piece shaft with a block-off plate. 456s, I think I mentioned. 35s, front and rear, automatic lockers, just little lunchbox setups. Nothing overly fancy.
So from where it sits in your garage today, what does it need to run?
As of today, it runs. I need a couple battery terminals to make it run and
So
sustain
run, drive,
it.
and stop on its own power. Battery terminals.
Battery terminals, 2 radiator hoses, and some U-bolts in the drive shaft.
So that gets us to the Cove in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's a little optimistic on my current schedule.
That's our time frame.
No,
No, it's not.
Ideally,
SummerSlam
like
is our
that.
time
That's
frame.
Oh, okay.
that's bare minimum to get around the block. Ideally, I'd like to build some seat brackets because right now, like the Corbu seats on the stock YJ brackets, it's such an uncomfortable seating position for me because like I'm a big dude, so I'm like
Yeah.
all the way in the steering wheel.
6'3", 245.
Not 6'3".
Are you not that tall?
I wish. No,
I thought
I'm
you were that tall.
6'1" on a good
Oh
day.
shit, you're not that much taller than me.
No,
I thought I was the
I'm
shortest
just
in the
I'm
group.
just fatter.
Tom Walk is definitely the
Yeah,
shortest
Tom's the
of
shortest.
group.
Okay.
But yeah, it's I like to sit low in vehicles to begin with, and this thing sits way high, so I got to build seat brackets. I got like there's a bunch of knick-knacky stuff that needs to get done. I got to finish some of the reinforcements in the frame and everything because the frame was channeled and notched for the axle stretches.
Okay.
So there's some reinforcement and plating that still needs to be done, some welding that needs to be done. Nick did a great job like building skid plates out, but none of them there's no mounting hardware for it. So I got to finish building the skid plates because everything's flat bellied. And
So
then,
you're really like almost 20 hours into finishing it completely.
I would say more than that. Like I have a good V8 radiator, like a nice aluminum radiator to go in it, but I got to build mounts for it. The hood's been cut for Highline fenders, but there's no Highline fenders.
So it just looks like garbage.
Yeah, so like there's nothing that holds the hood down.
You were gonna build
the
some
grills
tube
moved.
fenders.
Yeah, I'll probably end up.
Yeah, the grill's laid back.
And the grills laid back to make room for the V8. I got to finish the winch mount. Like it's just a lot of stuff that needs to be finished. It's like most projects, it was started and it is what it is. But
Take off of
I feel
small
that.
things
Yeah.
a little over time.
yeah, and the irony is like I bought it with the plan to build it over time and really no rush, and then I
Your
got
Jeep fell
Scrappy
apart.
died.
right because I had scrap heap and then
Fell apart.
I got
blew apart.
I got a little saucy with scrap heap at the end of last season
That's when I ripped my shock off.
because I
You know
was
remember what the best part about that was?
Was that
Is
Horvath's
that
wedding?
You were gonna give it to Habib for free.
was
that was Horvath's wedding.
Was
So
it?
that was Friday night before Horvath's wedding.
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes, it
we,
was.
No. We
No, it was
killed
not.
it after Horvath's wedding because we went out.
Horvath's what was Alex's wedding main Jambo or SummerSlam?
I think it was main Jambo. It was definitely main Jambo.
I'm pretty sure it blew up in Fall Crawl.
Okay.
I'm
So
I am 90% sure we went into Fall Crawl. We were at lineup that morning.
So for
We
reference,
were
we showed up
around.
Thursday night. We camped Thursday night, wheeled hard all day Friday till
Yep.
about 4:00.
Yep.
Left, got changed, came to my house,
No,
showered.
No. We showed up Thursday night. We wheeled all day Friday.
Yes.
Then we got up Saturday morning, wheeled hard until noon, piled into Trevor's truck, drove out, showered, got dressed up, suit
For a
and
wedding.
tie for a wedding, went to the wedding.
Still had our armbands on. in
Still
all the
still had
photos.
our wristbands on. Had a great time at the wedding.
Well, yeah, it was a great time.
Yeah, it was a fantastic time at the wedding. Got a little wrecked.
Yep.
And then piled back into the car.
Drove home, dropped the wives off.
Dropped the wives off at
and
the
then
house.
Drove all the way.
And then
back
went back to
Dakota.
camp. And we were back in camp by midnight, where we continued to get wrecked, and wake up the next morning and wreck our Jeeps.
Yep.
So it might have been main Jambo. We may not have done Fall Crawl last year. I
Okay.
can't remember. If I still had the Jeep, I'd look at the stickers. But anyway, the morning before Scrap Heap died, our buddy Habib was in the market for a shitbox because we like ruining our friends' lives.
Because he has a newer Grand Cherokee.
Yeah, which he can't
That he-
wheel.
well, but he's
got kids.
WK2?
He beach
Yeah, it's-
wheels
yeah.
it. We've set it up for beach wheeling.
Yeah, which is not
but
wheeling.
Yeah, yeah.
he didn't want to destroy it.
Right.
Understandably.
It's a nice mild overlander. It's
Yeah, I
his
think
daily
what, it's like
driver.
a 2017 or
Yeah, it's
something.
it's like a 20. I guess 2017, 2018.
But it's in good shape.
It's a Summit. It's a high end. It's a high end vehicle. It's 20-inch wheels. Like
Yeah.
it's a family
You
car for
don't
him.
want to break it.
Right. So he's in the market for a shitbox because, like I said, we like ruining our friends' lives.
And his wife gave him a budget.
He did a very low budget, and most things don't fit into that budget, especially in the current market, which
Unless
was
you talk to us.
right, which
Yeah.
was Habib's frustration
Yep.
on that trip was he was sick of riding with us. He wanted something, but he couldn't spend what the market was asking for an XJ.
Yep.
Right, like a shitbox XJ is $3,500 right now, which is just
Which
mind-boggling.
used to be $300.
So I told him, I was like, listen, we'll get through the weekend. Scrap Heap's yours for $1,000. It's going to need X, Y, and Z. We'll help you. We'll help you.
But we'll make it
freshen
fit
it up,
in that budget.
and we'll build it out to not be as shitboxy as I've treated it. Right. I've got the resources and the time to just destroy a Jeep, put it back together in a weekend, and go and destroy it again. But for somebody like Habib, who's a friend, not a mechanic, build it out somewhat right. And, his Grand Cherokee is a V8, so he can tow with it.
Yeah.
And then I proceeded to, like, 2 hours later, completely destroy Scrap Heap, which
Not on purpose.
not on
Yeah,
purpose.
Scrappy decided that she did not want to belong to anybody else,
Yep.
and that she would rather die
Yep.
than
She
be
lived
in
a
the
full
ha-
life
Yeah, she
and
was,
decided to go out with quite literally a bang. like all the neutrals kind of bang.
Yeah, like pogo sticked on drive shaft kind of bang.
Which kind of threw off my original plan timeline.
For the YJ?
Yeah, it was like I was going to wheel Scrap Heap, sell to Habib, and then at least still have it around until the YJ was done, right? I was going to have all winter to finish YJ. It was going to be great. No issues. And then we killed Scrap Heap, and then Habib bought an XJ
From my old neighbor in
from your
Ashburn.
old neighbor, which then, so
Now sits at the shop.
yeah.
along
Typical
with
me.
all of our projects.
Yeah. Typical me fashion. I got to work on everybody else's Jeeps before my own. Don't ask me why I do it, but I always do. The YJ's been back and forth between the shop and my house, and the shop and my house.
I've been trying to push you to get it brought back to the shop. I'll
we're-
bring it back to
we're
the shop
planning
for you.
on
So here, hold on. I made a list the other day. This is my goal.
We've already
f-
discussed
yeah.
this. We're gonna.
Oh yeah, it
Tow it
is
down and-
the current note on my notebook on my
Whoa.
phone.
That's not a very long list.
It's not. It's really not. So it's mount the radiator, which involves remounting the fan, getting upper and lower radiator hoses, installing the last 4 nuts for the front drive shaft, mount the shocks, make a seat mount, install the new battery terminals, relocate the battery, remount the fuse box, finish the frame welding, build out the fenders. I found out that I do have to cut a big hole in the hood to fit the air cleaner.
Hell yeah.
Because race car.
So-
race car brother.
Are you gonna? You could always just route it to the cab like the mud buggies do.
No. Because the cool thing about the 4.2 is it's throttle body the 4.2, the 5.2, it's throttle body injection.
Stroker.
So it's got the big 10-inch air cleaner, like a
Okay.
carbureted engine sitting on top of the motor. I gotta cut. Basically, I'm gonna try and find a 10-inch hole saw. I don't think it exists, but I gotta cut a big old
You
circle
need
in the middle of the hood.
just a blower scoop with the butterfly valve.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how I'm going to finish it off yet, but one way or the other,
That
the
would be
hood
dope.
is currently resting on the air cleaner. No bueno. Hood hold downs, which simple pins. Change all the fluids because I don't know how long they've been in there, if there are even fluids in them.
Yeah. There's a.
That's the entire list to make it to Main Jambo for beginning of September.
SummerSlam.
No, ideally,
Main Jambo is September.
if I can get it done by
SummerSlam is like if we can get them done, test and tune, very light
Yeah.
weekend.
Yeah, like
hey,
I would
let's make sure it actually
day
goes up and down the mountain.
Yeah, I would day trip, not do a guided, not guide for big dogs. Just something easy to make sure it's going to stay together. Because it's an untested rig right now.
So Tom, what are your future plans for the YJ? Now we know what you have to finish on it to get going for the season.
I want to get rid of that stock Dana 30.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, I want
I've got a set of tons in your side yard.
yeah, you do. And that set of tons may just mysteriously disappear and reappear underneath the YJ.
That's fine. You can have them.
But I also have a Wagoneer 44 in that same scrap pile that I own.
The same axle pile in your side yard.
I think it's there somewhere. You got to weed whack around it and find it, but it's there. And I also have a set of random coilovers I bought off Facebook probably 5 years ago.
Did Meat ever reach out to you about that 44 that you have?
Who?
The Baltimore boy guy
Oh, for the rear?
for the rear.
No.
Oh.
If he did, I haven't seen it or I missed it.
Oh.
Oh, whatever.
Probably.
That's all right.
Is that the same guy that's selling it for a boat?
No, that's
No,
Bobby
a different
Nines.
guy.
all right.
That's Bobby Nines.
So I want to get rid of that front axle, so I'll probably start with building out the front first, leave the rear leaf springs, do a coilover, probably 3-link up front.
You got
Is that-
experience with that now because you built Trevor's by hand.
Yeah. I mean, we'll get into this in the next episode, but eventually I'd like to redo that one. Learned a little bit since.
Now that you know geometry.
Yeah, I mean, it'll get the job done. Wow, it makes some more noise
That's
over there.
all right.
Wow, it's
getting comfortable. It's
real-
actually less comfortable.
Real professional studio over here.
That's all right.
But yeah, eventually end up 4-link rear, probably triangulated. It's gonna be a rock crawler. Like that's the build.
Not
and-
rock landing. Rock landing.
No, but I will probably attempt to camp out of it because why the hell not?
When your truck breaks down, you still want to go to the cove.
Yeah, and just. I mean, it's a V8. It's gonna have the power to turn the 35s. It'll go up and down hills. It'll do 50 miles an hour. I'm sure. At 3 miles to the
53-inch
gallon,
front drive shaft.
it's gonna vibrate a little.
A little?
Yeah. So that's a fun story when ordering the drive shafts from Adams for the thing.
That was a good one.
Shout out to Adams if you need
Yeah,
drive shafts.
yeah.
Not a sponsor, but check out Adams.
Yeah, but quality product, great customer service.
Quick turnaround time.
Yeah, you custom drive shafts within a week. But called him up, was like, "Hey, I need 2 drive shafts for my shop project," and he's like, "Oh, what are you building?" It's like, "Oh, it's a YJ." He's like, "Cool. You got measurements for me?" "Yeah." "All right, rear drive shaft." I think it was like 16 and a half
Yeah.
inches. And he's like, "Oh shit, that's small." I was like, "Yeah." "Front 53." And he goes, "That's gonna have to be like a 4-inch tube." And I was like, "Yeah, about that. There's not enough space for a 4-inch tube. That's gonna have to be a 2.5-inch tube." And he's like, "Is this a trail rig?" And I was like, "Yep."
Oh, yeah.
And he goes, "Okay, I'll talk to the guys and see if it's possible, but that 2.5-inch tube may not be rigid enough to go highway speeds." And I was like, "That's okay." He's like, "What drivetrain's in it that it has a 53-inch front drive shaft?" And I was like, it's
Which
a
is standard front drive shafts is like mine is like 34 inches.
yeah,
My
yeah, yeah. This thing's literally
Double.
2 feet long. It's almost a 6 foot long drive shaft.
Yeah.
With the slip yoke like fully extended, it's pushing 60 inches. And
He
it,
didn't believe me when I measured it.
yeah, I sent Trevor out to measure it like any good boss does. It was like, "Hey, here's a tape measure. Go measure my drive shafts for me."
measure my drive shaft for my Sonny.
Yeah.
It was my full wingspan.
Yeah,
Like,
and he comes back in. He goes 53 inches. I was like, no. You're supposed to measure from yoke to yoke, not front to rear. and he's like, "I did."
That's literally half your wheelbase. That's literally half your wheelbase.
I think it's 2/3 the wheelbase
Yeah.
because
I told him-
a stock YJ is like 90 inches.
Because I told him, I was like, no. That's definitely your front. Your rear is like 17 inches long.
Yeah.
So he went out to go measure it himself, came back in, didn't say a word, just sat down
Yeah.
at the computer, and I was like, "Hey, how long was that drive shaft?" And he goes, "About 53 inches."
So yeah, we're that's obviously part of the test and tune to see how that does. But I really
So
don't
at
know
one
how.
point, you thought it doing like a 2-part drive shaft.
Yeah, do a straight drive shaft and build like a carrier bearing off the
kick
frame rail
down
or
off-
something. But that's
We'll see how it
future
goes.
project.
yeah. We're like the nice thing is that's shout out to Adams again. Any of the drive shafts they build for you, they will modify for a lower price than buying a new one. So at some point, like when I redo that front, I can kind of set the axle wherever I want it. So depending on geometry and things like that, and where I build the cross members,
They're gonna laugh at you when you have to ship back a 53.
and make it longer.
Make it longer, cut it in half, and make it 2.
Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting one to say because like I didn't think that drivetrain was that long, right? Like that fits in a Grand Cherokee. Like the Grand Cherokee wheelbase is not that much longer than
Yeah.
Yeah, but the axle is not stretched past the frame.
Yeah, but so like a YJ is like I think like 91 or 92 inch wheelbase factory. So this thing's still under 100 inches of wheelbase. Like an XJ and a ZJ are not much more than 100 inches of wheelbase, but it's got to be the packaging of it. Like the motor's set pretty far back.
You got a big package.
It's got it's a nice drive shaft you got there. So yeah, I mean, there's obviously, maybe upgrading the motor at some point, keeping it V8. It all depends on how it does.
LS swap the world. No, it's got to be cool with an LS because everyone LS swaps
Yeah,
everything.
yeah, that's like the.
Jeep says Hellcat fits in this one too.
That's right.
Hellcat is $30,000,
No, crate Hellcat's
$45,000.
No, the crate Hellcat ready to run is like 35, 40
Oh, is it?
grand.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that doesn't include any of the
Screw
swap
the
parts.
Hellcat. We're going
That's-
elephant.
That's like
That's
$50,000.
Okay.
You got $100,000.
Hey guys,
to
we're
spend
gonna
on a-
really need you to like and subscribe because
Yeah.
we need to get a elephant.
Yeah, we're gonna need those listens. Just go ahead and leave
Jeep,
this.
send the check.
Yeah. I think they already discontinued the Elephant.
I'm pretty sure they. Yeah,
But,
I think we were talking
um,
about that the other day.
Yeah.
Who sent the link today that Chevy has the new 1,000 horsepower naturally
that was
aspirated.
Brian's a little bit
junkyard
behind.
note.
They debuted that.
Yeah, that was
SEMA
from
21. Yeah.
Hoonigan debuted that in their.
Yeah, it's a 572 cubic inch big block.
It was pretty. It was
crate
pretty
motor.
Nice. It's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's
10 liters.
it's bananas.
Let's put that in something.
Sure.
R2.8 actually. I'd rather do the R2.8 than anything.
That'll be another episode, but we are
Yes.
that is in the works. We'll talk about that one another day.
That makes me smile.
Yeah.
Not ours, I don't
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, Cummins, if you're out there and listening,
Yeah,
we're really hoping you're on time for that mid-August delivery.
Yeah.
Please approve our dealer status. Have we gotten there yet?
Yeah, we're there.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're officially not approving or allowing orders yet because of supply chain issues. Let's go, Brandon.
Welcome to the Dirt Nerds Political Podcast.
Tune in bi-weekly for that one. But yeah, it's one of the few back orders that we're still dealing with, which has nothing to do with my project. But before I ramble again, yeah, I mean the YJ is pretty simple. It's gonna a couple bucket seats.
Do you still have your coils from the CJ project that you never started?
Yes, well, we started that. We just
The coilovers,
The
yeah.
CJK.
yeah the CJK that never happened.
That's a story for a different time.
That was a great idea in my mind.
It was a great idea on paper too.
until who did the YJK?
No, that's different.
That's a totally different. That's a totally different dream build.
It's the YJL.
The YJL,
That's right.
which was Quadratech. They
That's
stole my
right,
idea
that's
of putting a 4-liter in a modern
In
Jeep,
a modern Jeep. That's right. That's
because
right.
the 3.6 is garbage,
Pentastar.
and the 4-liter is the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yes.
And they stuffed that into a JL.
Actually, we need to start saying the greatest thing since the 4-liter. Replace sliced bread just in general.
I kind of like that
Yeah, but the 4-liter is.
We
the
need to get a
greatest
merch
thing
store going.
since sliced
because
bread.
that's a good T-shirt
I
too.
wish we had a graphic designer on staff.
His computer's broken. Shut up. But to wrap up the YJ build,
Yeah.
I mean, you got some good, decent plans in there.
Oh yeah, I mean,
it's
it's in its current state, it's going to be a perfectly good, capable trail rig.
Yep.
I mean, we're not as much as I want to go run the Mammoth Trail at AOAA. We're not doing that anytime soon.
I think we need buggies for that.
No, we don't need
no.
no-
AOAA thinks we need buggies for that. They set out those parameters. We need buggies.
AOAA,
You were so sad when that came out.
I
AOAA,
know.
we are going to prove you wrong.
No, we're not, because they're not going to let us on the trail. We're
Hey,
just
look-
going to build buggies and
Look
then
at
go
our
run the
square
trail.
headlight garbage.
Can
I've got 33s. Can I wheel your
Can I
Mammoth
bring my
Trail?
budget build on your world-class competition rock crawling trail? I swear I'm a professional amateur.
Oh shit.
No, but it's pretty much ready to go. It'll definitely be out this season.
Yep.
It may be the end of the season, but it will be out this season.
I won't hold my breath.
You
Shut up over there.
You should.
Not all of us have like a cushy county job where we can just work 3 hours a day and then have unlimited free time to
The funny
maintain
part
our
is,
trail rigs.
he doesn't use his free time to work on anything. He sits around.
I produce a podcast.
Oh
shut
my
up.
god!
That's like 4 hours a week.
Oh,
only
week.
4 hours. Yeah,
A
got
week.
it.
You
4
have
hours a
17 hours
week.
a day to do whatever you want.
4 hours a week.
I
I wish I had 4 hours a week of free time.
Oh my god.
Fair. I've started cranking on my Jeep though, but
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Cool. Well, sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks for letting me ramble about my garbage.
you're the best of the three of us at just talking, so you're
Yeah.
pretty good at that. Next week it'll be Trevor talking about his
Yep. The Comanche.
garbage pile that we
The
love
Comanche.
dearly.
It is the legendary shitbox.
The Millennium Manchi.
The Millennium Manchi, the legendary shitbox.
I found the rear window decal.
yes.
It's in the garage.
Yes!
We
You
have
ordered
not
it?
lost that. So yeah.
I ordered-
No.
Okay,
Next
No.
week.
We'll get
We
into
we
that
got to
next
leave the
time.
cliffhanger.
That's true.
We
That's
got to
true.
leave the
We'll get into that
cliffhanger for next
time.
week.
There's a lot of additions. But yeah, so yeah, thanks for tuning in this week, guys. Like we said, next week we'll be going over my build, the Comanche. But check us out on all social media: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Like and subscribe, and we will see you next time.
We gotta drop the link. We're at the Dirt Drive.
Oh,
check
at
us
the
out.
Dirt Drive. Yeah. You guys
Check
know
it. Check
by
us
now.
out at
That's
the Dirt
kind
Drive.
of the important part. That's
Yeah, I guess.
if we're ever gonna get paid, that's how we're gonna get paid.
All right, guys. We'll see you later.